We've been fortunate enough. I know the rest of the country's had a lot of bad weather, and we've had it in Christchurch too, but the training tracks at Riccarton have sort of been conducive to horses working at time, and horses have to be able to run fast to win races, especially when the tracks are good. And yeah, our team's sort of a lot more forward. We've certainly never ever won so many races at this time of the year ever. We're normally about 4 or 5 wins on the board, but fortunately we're up to 14, so we're going good. Yeah. Yeah, Montoya Star's always shown a lot of ability. She won really well. She won the opening race on Cup Day at Wellington this year, because it's 2017, and we put her aside, and she's come back better than ever, and she won particularly well the other day over a distance that most people would say is short of her best, but in saying that, she won really impressively. And we did have her nominated for the Copelands, but we're going to concentrate on the Valachi Downs. I think that's a more suitable race for her. Well, yeah, she probably won't be the best weighted horse in the race because it suits the mares that have been there and done it, but she's a mare on the way up, and for that reason we're going in there thinking we're a chance. Last year he possibly didn't have as good a campaign as we thought. He did run second in the Pegasus last year and started favourite I think in the Stewards, and slightly disappointed. But he had a lot of foot issues at that time of the year, not major foot issues, but it just meant we had to bathe his feet and everything like that. Well, we don't have to do that this year. We put heart bar shoes on him, and he's come back a better commodity. His last start, he actually ran the second fastest last 600 and run last, because over the last 100 metres he just, Sam had a handful of horses and couldn't go nowhere. So we were confident enough with that run under his belt that he'll be competitive in the Stewards, and on the first day in the Pegasus, that's where we're heading with him. Yeah, Flying Ibis, well, he's a revelation really. He's a little bit like some other horses we've had. He's 8-year-old, he's been to Hong Kong and come back, and yeah, I've got to thank Jim Bruford, part owner, because we actually race him on lease from his Hong Kong owner. He was going to be retired, but we had a lot of success with a horse called Our Genes for Jim. He won 26 races, and he suggested to the owners that we give the horse a go. And gee, it's worked out good. I thought he won really well the other day, beat Signify and Co the other day, and for that reason we're having a crack at the Stewards, and Chris Johnson's going to ride him. He actually thought he'd win the Winter Cup, but we ran out of tracks, and the tracks got too wet for him. But so we're going from a Winter Cup trying to win a Stewards. Some people would say it's crazy, but we did win the Stewards with El Chico as a 10-year-old, so you know, you never know. He goes really good fresh. He does try real hard. He's one of those horses that can sit back and make quite a long, devastating run. And I don't think the Stewards will be hugely numbers-wise this year for some reason. I guess the wet tracks have held a lot of people up, but he'll be competitive. Yeah, Enzo's lad, he was a relatively cheap buy at the Gold Coast in Brisbane. He's always shown a lot of ability, but he's been a little bit weak. He's quite a big, heavy horse, and he's got to carry that frame round, but he has got a great record at Riccarton. We could have run in the 75-1100 with a bit of weight, but we've chosen to run him in the Pegasus because he has got a great record. I think Chris Johnson will be riding him in the Pegasus, so that's a plus as well. We love winning the Stewards. It's the third best 1200 metre race in New Zealand, money-wise, but a lot of people don't realise that. Mr. Typhon, well, he's a work in progress, I guess. He doesn't come through his races as good as we hope, and half the problem is that, you know, he does try real hard and he puts it all in, and he probably loses about 20 kilos in a couple of days. You've got to patch him up again and go again. But this preparation, we're confident that he's overcome that. He's five-year-old now. He should be getting a bit stronger, and I think he is. And he'll have a crack at the Pegasus. He probably won't run in the Stewards because it's too quick a backup. But there's a race at the last days which might suit him, 75-1200. You know, it's possibly a little bit of a big step, but if you can't do it on your back door, well, you don't have to travel for it anyway. We've got a good record of backing horses up, I guess. Yeah, look at the property, it's got plenty of grass. We're not far from the track. We go to the beach, takes horses to the beach 3 times a week. You guys have been to the beach with me and done articles there before, and it's like yourself, you go for a swim in the sea, you do build up an appetite, you know, the salt water, salt air, whatever, you get an appetite by being at the beach, and that's what we try to do. She's not the most endowed with ability, but she's not a natural 2-year-old, and I mean, she only arrived here in July, and here she is, she's run 2 seconds already, you know, and we lease her off a syndicate with a very modest 5-figure rider purchase, and that same syndicate's in on the lease as well. But she is a direct descendant of 8 Carat, so she's from one of the best brood mares that's ever graced a paddock in New Zealand. And as I say, she's run 2 seconds so far, so she deserves a chance in the Welcome Stakes. Fortunately, we might have a second stringer, which will possibly be a better horse, but a horse called Miroslava, she's by Swiss Ace. So all the tennis pundits will know that Miroslava is Roger Federer's wife. That's how she got the name, after the Swiss Ace. So she's had one trial and won it, but she hurt her back leg. She's got a cut in her back leg, which we've managed to repair, and she'll be having a trial next week, and safely through that she'll go into the Welcome Stakes. But she's a horse I'm trying to qualify for the $1 million race at Riccarton. Yeah, Brabus arrived here a few months ago, and first thing the owners told me is don't line it up on a wet track because it hates it. Well, the first thing I did, of course, is line it up on a heavy track, didn't I? And it ran second in a rating 85 race, which was a huge run for a horse that was on a 59 rating or whatever it was. Then he ran second, then he disappointed, so we freshened him up a bit, and his work before he raced last week was first class, you know. With any sort of a run, he was always going to win, and obviously a few people thought so because there was plenty of money for him. But he's one of our mainstay horses outside the stakes race. This is over the carnival. He'll run a 75 1100 the first day and back up on the last day in a 75 1200. And yeah, he's a horse that hopefully we can repel the North Island Challenge with. A good friend of mine, Jason Waddell, he's rode 32 winners one season for me as an apprentice. I'm pretty sure he'll be back on him, but I hope he will. And I mean, Jason's a great rider who knows how to ride Riccarton, and yeah, he should get a cushy run just in behind the speed somewhere. Apart from obviously the horses that are contesting the stakes races, which are never easy, he'd be our best chance of the lesser races for sure.